Go.
Hello, everyone. Hello to our subscribers. Hello to our visitors, those who hop in every now and then. We just want to say hello to you. It's been a long time that we haven't been on this platform, but we are here today and we have some good news and we have something really exciting that we want to talk about today. So, I am Minerva.
And I'm Hillary.
Welcome to another episode of Two Church Girls. Go ahead, Hillary.
So, welcome everyone. Let me first apologize. Life have been lifing. We've been doing a lot of different things. We were in graduation season, prom season, and for those of us who have teenagers who has gone to prom and then who have graduated, we both have our sons went to prom and graduating and going off to college. And don't forget that we are in school, so we are at the end of season. Well, she's at the end of season in school.
Yes.
She's all into our exams and passing her classes to close out for school. And I am over here struggling with my doctoral studies exam and papers writing and all of that. So we were really taken up in different areas of life, and I call that life is lifing.
Yes.
We can't, those things are inevitable. We cannot, jump over those things, especially to the milestones of our children. So I want to say shout out to our boys. They did very well in high school. Minerva's son graduated and my son graduated, and they are both going off to college.
Yes, absolutely.
So we are so excited and we are cheering them on, and not just them, but I want to do a shout out to all the children who have graduated and adults too who graduated.
Yes.
My niece graduate, and she's going to Ivy League High School in New York, and it's just nice. My friends' children graduate, and it's so nice to celebrate children as well as working on yourself, doing different things. So we were absent for a reason, because we were tending to our kids and doing things for ourselves. So, but we are here and we are ready to go.
Yes, we're ready to rock and roll.
Yes.
Yes.
So today we want to talk about, we've been talking so much about knowing who you are, and I think it's so fitting for us to approach children who are going off to college.
Absolutely.
In knowing who they are.
Yes.
And one of the things that I have spoken to my son about, or we've been talking about ever since is junior year of high school, is knowing who he is. And there's two part of us that we as parents, we really need to make sure that our children can identify those two parts of us. We have what is called our characteristic traits and our personality traits.
Yes.
And sometimes we do get them mixed up, but they are totally different. And so we want to spend just a couple of minutes, talking about that and understanding what that is. Because knowing who you are, we talk about knowing who you are spiritually, help you to navigate through life naturally. But when you know who you are spiritually, also helps you to develop your characteristics traits and how to act in your personality traits.
Absolutely.
So it's knowing the difference between the two. Children, I often say this, and I say this to you before, when our children go off to college, believe it or not, we go off to college too.
Yes.
Because our children represent us, but then we are so anxious, not that we don't trust God to take care of them, but we are so anxious in what our children doing. It takes a while to just like say, okay, I'm gonna rest it here.
Yes.
We want, for me personally, because I'm an umbrella mom and everybody knows that, I want my kids to call me. I want my kids to, tap in, and sometimes it's not even just call. I will text them, and say, how are you, whatever. I want a text back.
Yeah.
I will not pay your phone bill because you're not talking to me. And I don't want you to talk to me all the day. I wish you would talk to me every day. Right? No, you talk to me every day, but not right throughout the day, because I want to know how you're doing, not just what you're doing, how you're doing physically, how you're doing mentally. And I also want to also tap in and give a little bit of word of encouragement,
yes,
motivation, and inspiration.
Yes.
So just some check-in. And I often tell my youngest, because gosh, that kid is like his mom, he doesn't answer phone. But I said, I will not pay your phone bill.
Yeah.
For real, I will not pay your phone bill if you don't respond to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
I think it's one of those moments when you're because let me talk about when my daughter was the first one to go off to college. It was a moment where I was excited, but then at a moment where I was having mixed feelings. I'm like, how is she gonna do? What type of friends that is she gonna interact with and all of that stuff? But then what I had done was I had someone who has been off to college before speak with her and let her know what to expect and all of that stuff. So that kind of helped the situation to say, okay, then I'm going into something that is foreign, something that is new to me, but at least I am prepared to go into it. So as mothers, we're gonna feel worried or concerned sometimes, but at the same time, if we prepare them going into college, then it will be a little bit less stressful for us to go into college. So now that Jaden is gonna go off to college, he's not gonna board into college, and that makes me feel much better knowing that he will be with me, going back and forth and all of that stuff. And to be honest, all my kids are different. So with Jaden, I could say I could rest, I could ease back a little bit and know that, okay, then he's gonna go there, he's gonna do well, he has his head screwed on, he knows who he is and all that stuff. So I'm not worried about Jaden. I'm just excited to see what he is going off, what is gonna become of him in the future. So that's what I want to say.
And then on the other hand, I am not worried for my child. What kind of make me more anxious is that he's high risk allergic, and so having a high risk allergic child, you have an episodes at any time. So I'm teaching him, and I started doing that long before senior year, how to respond to certain things. And I often try to tell parents that when you send your kids off to college, what they really do 99.9% of the time is take away that responsibility from you, but you still have a chance to hold on that responsibility of being in charge of your kids' health and all of that by going into the school and find out what kind of forms I need to sign so that I can, if my son, my child or daughter, whatever gets sick, I can come in and take over and take authority over what is going on with my child because I signed those papers. So I learned that when my eldest was going off to college, and so I know I'm prepared to do that with my second child going off to college. So it's more for me is to prepare them mentally.
Yeah, and that's very
It's a
important.
mental preparation because
That's
it's
very,
very important.
Yes.
And so that is the reason why I am emphasizing so much in our children understanding their characteristic traits and their personality traits. And so we just want to dive right into that. What is the difference between the two? What is the characteristic traits, and what is the personality traits? Now, the characteristic traits is basically who you are.
Right.
It's what you the beliefs that you grow up in, your morals, your values. I would say the characteristic traits of your life are 99.9% stationary. They don't move.
Right.
It doesn't change. Because if you believe in Jesus Christ, you grew up in a home that believe in Jesus Christ, and you go up, you know everything all your life till you're 18, 19. That's what you believe. That's what you're taught. That is embedded in you.
that shapes who
that
we are.
shapes who you are. That helps to shape your morals, whether you come from a single parent home or not. That helps to develop you in terms of your beliefs, your morals, the standards that I live for my life spiritually, the family orientation that I come from, my characteristics of my beliefs shape who I am. So I use that first because you have children who grew up like that, but when they go off to college, they go some to the left.
Yes.
And it's all because of influences.
Influence, yes.
And so when your influence is bigger than your character, that's a problem. Always have your character higher than any influence that comes around you. Therefore, that prevents your character to be penetrated. You see, your personality trait can be penetrated. But when your character is penetrated, when you know that stealing is not something that you do, it's not a part of your character, but you can be so easily influenced
that you go and steal
because someone coached you into that. Because the thing is that life happens, things like these really, really happen.
It does.
And we can't blame the parents, but I will say this, our children sometimes are not taught how important it is to stay in the character that you have. It's very hard to move out of the character that you were stationed in, that you were raised in, but it can happen. The influence is strong.
One other thing that just came to my mind while we're talking here is your character speaks for you.
Yes.
You don't even have to say anything.
No.
Your character will tell you. And also too, I want to add this to it, that also the character that you have attracts people to you.
Right.
So if you're a person who is honest, it's gonna attract people who are honest. Right?
But that doesn't mean though
that you're not going to be
influence won't come around you.
Absolutely.
But because your character is stationary, it's immovable.
Yeah.
It's hard to be shaken.
Yes.
Now, someone with a weak character is easily swayed.
Yep.
So, let's look at personality traits. Personality traits are temperament.
Yeah, they change.
It change.
Yeah.
And personality traits can be on your environment. I'm gonna use me as a representative. I have to do that, or I can use my son. I grew up in a large family. However many siblings, oh my God, plus my parents, and I have always been that child who was very quiet. I grew up that way. That's part of my character. I can be in the loudest room and still be the quietest person in the room. That doesn't mean that I'm quiet though.
Right.
But what that makes me, and I had to learn that. When people say, oh, you're so quiet. No, I'm not. I'm just a reserved child. I grew up, every single person who knows me knows that when everybody's outside playing, I'm inside with my mom.
Yeah.
So my character is that I am very reserved. That doesn't mean that I am quiet though.
Yeah.
And I used that the other day to talk to my son about something that he was encountering, and we talk about it. And I said to him, you are a very distinctive child. Let no one sway you. And I love that about him, because the kid is so quiet, but man, he's so tough.
But also too, one of the things, sometimes they don't even know, our kids don't even know their character traits.
That's why I pointed that out to him. That's the reason why I did what I did, because especially in what he's going into college for, I had to make sure I point that out. I said, that is your character. Your character is to stand in that, because that's what you know and that what works for you. And that makes you stand out different from everyone else. You are distinctive, and that is what we want to pour in our children, that when influences come and you stand up against it, that's your character, that's who you are. Nothing is wrong. Let they speak. Just stand in who you are, because the moment you start to shake, sway, you're gonna lean.
Yep.
So when you know who you are and understand that these beliefs, these things that I hold dear to me, by being nice to people, by having respect for people, that doesn't mean that if you have personality trait it doesn't happen, but not being easily acting out of character by speaking foul languages and stuff like that, by even getting into crowds and companies that I know for sure I would not be involved in otherwise. And I don't want to do it to fit in, because fitting is the big norm right now. If you don't fit in, then you are ostracized. You don't have to, because that's not who you are. You don't need to shake or bend to please anyone. The character that I have, I know that it will hold me to stand up against what? The beliefs that I have will keep me. And so telling our children these things is not making them be different, but is to make them be outstanding.
And come into who they ought to be.
So when we look though on our personality traits, that switches, you'll see someone, I'm gonna use church because we're church people, and you see them at church and you say, oh my God, you're so quiet, you're so humble, you're so, and it's all because of appearance, because it's temperament. But catch them in the parking lot, catch them on the job.
It's a whole different. It's a whole different thing when they're in different settings. It's just like my son Jaden. With Jaden, when he's at home, he's such a reserved child. He's more of an introvert when he's at home. But when he's with his friends, oh my God, you have to wonder if it's the same Jaden that is at home, that doesn't talk a lot, and then when he's with his friends, it's a whole different thing. So the setting and so on, it brings out their personality and their characters too.
And I will use me again, for example. I am not just a quiet person at home. You and I go to different functions, and you see the function is lively, but I'm off by myself. But because that's my character. It's so, sometimes I'm so mad with myself. This is not a joke. Sometimes I'm so mad with myself that I am not sociable. but that's who I am. But that doesn't mean that I am not a nice person. One of the things, I talk this all the time, one of the things I love about Minerva, she's a social butterfly. Unfortunately, I'm not. She is a social butterfly. Minerva reminds me so much of one of my sister. Look, man, one introduction and she know you from you were born. Unfortunately, I'm not that kind of person, but I love being around people, but I am not a social butterfly. And so it's okay to be who you are.
It's okay.
You don't have to switch your temperament to be your character, because your temperament is only for a little bit of moment. And so then when you do things that is not your character, then you mess yourself up. My mom would say, what you do today, you will have to pay for it 10 years down the line. So teaching our kids, and when I say our kids, because when we were born with our personality traits. When you look at some babies, when they're born, they're just laughing babies, and you have some who are crying babies. As babies go along, especially for the first, I think, 2 years of their life, their personality traits just switch all over. Then growing from 2 to 7, you're better instill for those of us who work with children, who teach, knows that once a child past 7 years old, if they're not instilled with manners and discipline according to Jamaica, if you don't have no manners, no come around me.
I tell my kids, that's a conversation that I have with my kids all the time. I said, listen to me. If you have manners and respect,
Yeah.
you could live with me until you're old and gray.
Yeah.
That goes a long way for me. And as Jamaicans, I feel like that has been instilled in like every
Yeah.
child in Jamaica, knowing
Yeah.
that, okay, then you gotta have manners. When you pass someone on the road, you gotta say miss or Mrs. But now in this day and age, things are
Yeah.
changing so much.
Yeah.
We have evolved so much that we forget these little things that
Yeah.
was instilled into us. But I still do it with my kids.
One of the things I teach my kids is to never call people by their first name. I don't care who they are, and I honestly just don't care. And I want to go back on something for all my friends who are Americans. When we say manners, Jamaica, we instead of saying discipline, we say manners. Our children have to have manners. They have to be manageable.
Yeah.
In America, you said discipline. So it's basically interchangeable. It's the same thing. But one of the things, all of my friends, Minerva can tell you, my children, it's Miss Minerva.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
It's Miss so-and-so or Mr. so-and-so. My church, I love my church. I love my pastors. They call, the church, they call them by their name. I told my pastor, I will never call you Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not used to that either.
I am not used to it.
Even at my church too, like even like ministers, they're younger than I am.
Yeah.
I know this minister for the youth, I call him Minister so and so.
Yes.
Like I can't just say this or that
Yeah.
or whatever. I have to address them with respect
Pastor
and manner,
and
whatever pastor, whatever
so
their
and so
title
and
is or
pastor,
whatnot,
yeah.
and so on and
But
so forth.
for them, and I don't think anything is wrong with it though.
Mhm.
It's just culture.
Yeah.
But my culture and my character that I have won't allow me to call
Yeah.
my pastor by his first name. And then the other thing that we have to ensure that we teach our children. My mom taught me this. In every room that you go into, there's someone in charge. Pay respect to it. Even if you are in a room that you're being disrespected, you be careful how you respond, how you react to the action, because the reaction is always greater than the action.
Yeah.
So with our children going off to college, little nuggets like this, we want to instill in them that remember what your characteristics are. And if you can stick to that, and you maintain your personality, your personality is going to change. First year of college, you're this. Second year of college, I can tell you because I went.
Yeah.
Second year of college, you're that. Third year of college, your personality changes over the period of time, but your characteristics will never change. When you are graduating or when you have left college, the persons who talk about you during college, after college, and long on after, they will not talk about your personality. They're going to talk about your character.
But also too, I feel like your personality feed off your character.
Yes, but your personality is not permanent.
Right, exactly.
It's a
Just
temperament,
yeah.
and your personality sometimes can based on the environment that you're in. So you're in this environment and you have a different personality. You have some people. That's why we say catch them in the parking lot or catch them at work. Completely different person. Angel at church and devil at work.
Yeah.
It because it's our personality trait. But when you stay too long in your personality, your character comes out.
Yeah, I could see that happening because when I'm in a different environment, I'm a whole different person. Like, say for example, I'm at work, I'm like a whole different person at work than when I would be at church or so on and so forth. So I feel like that personality comes out at work with
Yeah.
a difference and than when I'm at church. And so as I feel like as I grow,
Yeah.
my personality changes.
Yeah, your
Because I'm in a
personality
different
has to change.
different environment.
It,
So
ask
yeah.
any psychologist.
Yeah.
Your personality will always change.
Mm-hmm.
Because here the thing is, you know this. It is hard for someone to invite me somewhere at the spur of the moment. My invitation has to be planned. And so when that happens, it takes a little while for me to really get into that. Get into that excitement of where I'm going, because I just got an invitation. And everybody's built up different. One other thing for me, as Minerva mentioned on the job, honest to God, I am the same person everywhere I go. I go in the room and I don't talk to you. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I do it at my church. I do it at my home. I go into the room. Hello, good afternoon. How was your day? And I'm done. Because that's my character. I'm not an interactive person. On the other hand, I've been to places with Minerva and it's not a social event, and Minerva work it like it's a social event. But I like that about her. I do. But I'm just not that type of person.
Like for me, when I go into somewhere, like for the very first time and I don't know everyone, I kind of have to mop the room first.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I got a little searching first and mop it. As soon as I'm kind of settled in, listen.
Man, this girl runs the show. She
I'm all
runs
over
the
the
show.
place, yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. And I know there's nothing wrong with me, because trust me, Minerva can tell you and other, I am a very conversational person. I'm just not an icebreaker.
Yeah.
I'm not an icebreaker. I am not a person who's gonna come over and ask you what's the weather. My conversation has to be bigger than what's the weather. So if it's just gonna be how are you, and I'm blessed and highly favored, and the person who is watching is gonna watch is gonna know. Hello, no, don't tell me you're blessed and highly favored.
Listen.
I want to hear
How
you doing. And
Listen.
everybody knows that about me.
Yes.
I am a very conversational person. So my conversation is not going to be about the weather. It's not going to be how are you. And it has to be a little bit deeper than that. And so we have to teach our kids, if you are a social butterfly, it's okay to be a social butterfly. Okay? And if you are an introverted person like me, who is reserved, but you're not shy, but you are just reserved, it's okay. It's okay. It's just for us to know who we are and do not bend our character to fit our personality traits.
I agree with that.
Don't do it.
I absolutely
Going off to
agree.
college, know who you are.
Absolutely.
There's so many different personality and characteristic traits out there, tests out there that you can do. I often talk about Google University and YouTube University. Trust me, I have done them. I have done different personality traits testing through schools, through therapists, but it's good to do them. Do want to know who you are, especially if you're going away from home to college, new people, new environment. Try to understand who you are. Know what you hold dear to your heart and what you will not let anyone pluck out of your heart or take out of your hand.
But also too, there's some things out there in college, let me tell you. If you're not strong enough to know your character and who you really are, it will suck you in like a vacuum. Let me tell you that right now. So as our children are going off to college, let us instill that into them. Let them walk in their identity. Let them walk into who they have been created to be, and not just be somebody else that they have to fit into something.
Right.
So go ahead.
So for everyone who is going off, every parent, this is for the parent, I'm going to ask you, speak life into your children. Please. It is the words that come out of our mouth that causes impact. Speak life over your children. Send your children off Let them know that they are excellent. Let them know that you are proud of them. Let them know that you love them. Let them know that they have a home to come back to if things doesn't work out the way they want to work it out. Have your arms open at all times to receive your children. And if your children are acting out of character, remember, that is for a moment and that's not who they are. Your children can only know that that's not that who they're supposed to be when you tell them who they are supposed to be. Fix your children for their becoming. Don't fix them for their right now. Their right now is not who they are. Their becoming is who they are. So, next time we'll see you. Enjoy the summer holidays, and we are hoping to hit you up back with more little nuggets for our little babies and for ourselves as they go off to college. God bless.
Thank you for